Hello and welcome back to our Gamescom 2016 coverage here on Games Radar Plus. I'm James, joined by Leon. Leon has just played the new Resident Evil 7 demo, and I sat there and watched him do it. Not as much jumping as I would have liked from you, I have to say.
I didn't like it, and by that I mean I loved it. It was great. It was horrible and nasty. It's really in your face. So the setup is that this is one of these videotapes. So beginning hour was a demo to give an idea of what the game will be like, but it's not in the game. This is one of the tapes you will find in the games, but it's not actually the game. They're like the notes, like the itchy, the tasty, scratchy notes you used to find, but they're like a playable version. So you're playing a girl called Mia, trapped in a house. It's an old plantation house. You're being chased by Marge Baker, who's another member of the family. You met the guy in beginning hour who's the laughy man that punches you, chasing around with a lantern. If she catches you, she comes right up into your face, which is just really unpleasant. Like, it's really horribly rendered, beautifully rendered, but she looks horrible. And she starts pounding your face with the palm of your hand. But yeah, so you're creeping around a house. There's a really kind of classic Resi puzzle where you find this misshapen rock, and you have to kind of tilt it until it makes a spider as a shadow, and then it opens up another area. But yeah, it's interesting because it still isn't the game. And we don't know yet what the game is, but just what these notes are that you play, if you like, within the game.
Yeah, you've probably seen a lot of the footage online already of the demo that Leon's describing. So yeah, it's not actually the game at all, and we haven't seen. You don't play the main character of Resident Evil 7.
No,
we haven't seen anything about them. We don't really know who they are, or what you'll be doing. But all we've seen so far is these videotapes. This one was called Lantern.
Yeah.
If you think back to the original demo, it was called Kitchen. Like, everything's got a little special
name.
Well,
it was Kitchen when it was codename, wasn't it? And it became Beginning Hour as the teaser.
Yeah, that's the one that you've all played. So all these videotapes seem to have names of things around the house.
Yeah.
But this one, we learned from the demo that it's not a singular house in Resi 7.
He mentioned an estate, didn't he? So this is the Plantation house, and it's different to the house we saw in Beginning Hour. And yeah, there's this idea, there's this estate, so there's this area. How big it is, we don't know, but it seems like you're going to be in a large space, going to be a number of houses. And each of these tapes gives you either a backstory, but one of the things they pointed out at Beginning Hour is it teaches you something you might need to do. So in Beginning Hour, you find the switch under the fireplace. So some of these things will actually be clues, if you like, or will let you progress. You might not know where to go until you play one.
The demo that you played today had a very Alien Isolation feel to it. It was a woman who would walk slowly around the house, and you had to hide, go round crates to avoid her gaze. Yeah,
it was a very, very stealth heavy section. So there was one bit, wasn't there, where I went to one side and I kept peeking out to see where she was, and that kept bringing her back. So I was stuck for a while. That's going to need some balancing, I think, because I was basically stuck in a corner for ages, because every time I looked, she came back. And there's another section with the barrel where we were just kind of going around the barrel for a while until she wandered off.
But they did say with these demos, they're more teaching you about the mechanics that are going to be in the game. So this one's teaching you stealth. The Beginning Hour one taught you about looking for things that would be back in the world when you go back and do things. So they all seem to be connected to other things. It looks like there's going to be some more information at TGS coming out.
We're still waiting for the finger.
Still waiting for the revelation of whatever the finger is, if it's going to be anything. Who knows? But so what were your overall impressions of a demo that may not be the game?
I like it. It's nice. I mean, the whole VR thing, the first-person thing, is horror works really well like that, because it's really distressing. It's really unpleasant. Even just things like Outlast and Alien Isolation, just being in FPS, are tense things because there's less between you and the game. So that I really like. It's got some really nice touches, like Marguerite when she's walking around and she's screaming at you for letting her down. I've opened my house up to you. You know, every step you take away from me, you're spitting on a memory. And it's got that kind of Texas Chainsaw.
It felt
kind
very
of
Texas
House
Chainsaw
on the Hill kind of, the crazy hillbilly family going mad sort of thing. So that I love. She says things like, "I'll feed you to my babies." I wonder if that was referencing to maybe some monsters or something. She said
dogs
like
that.
Yeah. I mean, there was something else as well she said that was kind of made me think of like infections and things. So it'd be interesting to see how it ties into the Resident Evil universe on a wider scale, because it is supposed to be linked to obviously the T virus and Ouroboros and Las Plagas and all that sort of thing. So it'd be interesting to see how that works.
I'm saying
excited
their
about it.
estate is in Raccoon City or on the outskirts. That's where it's going to be, and it will tie everything back together somehow.
Well, we don't know with Oswald's and all the family that sort of go back before kind of Resident Evil kicks off. For all we know, this could be the start of what sets them off looking for the T-virus and you know, all the different things like that.
I felt this demo was slightly less scary than the beginning hour. Like, it
was predictable. There wasn't a great deal of depth to it, and I guess that's indicative of it being in the game. The beginning hour obviously had to function as a playable experience, whereas this is kind of, it just gives you a bit of backstory. So it was just avoid the woman, solve a puzzle, and it was linear. I mean, they said this is very linear. You go in one place, you go through it, and you go out the other end. So it didn't have the depth because I think it was just a bit of exploratory narrative.
And there was less jump scares in it. Like, the first one had a lot of like things falling down. This was like, you very much saw who was after you at the very beginning, and then you just had to get away.
Once you sort of filled the screen and started mushing your face in with a hand, you're like, that scare's kind of sold. But it's still nasty each time, like when she's properly in your face screaming. That was not good. Yeah,
not fun. Okay, well, that's our hands-on demo with the new Resident Evil 7 gameplay demo. That's a tape that you play. It's confusing to describe. Don't forget to watch out for more Resident Evil info probably coming out of TGS, and keep it on Games Radar for more news, reviews, previews and features right here on the channel.
Bye-bye.
Where do you think you're going?